After months of being stuck, I am finally getting unstuck. And I really want to share this experience of why I have been in such a tough spot mentally the past few months and what has changed in the past week or less that has allowed me to very quickly shift back into momentum and action. Because if y'all have been in my world, if you're a client of mine, if you've ever worked with me, if you've been, in the community, I'm all about imperfect action, messy action, intuitively executing, trusting yourself, not worrying about things being perfect. It's like my whole life's purpose here is to help you take action imperfectly, to learn to trust yourself. And yet I found myself stuck in potentially the biggest rut of my entire business. I've been doing this on and off for literally 11 years. And the past 3 to 4 months have been some of the most challenging for me in terms of mindset and momentum, and just knowing that I was in my own way, but struggling to get out of it. I truly felt like I had gotten stuck in a loop over and over and over again. And I couldn't really figure out why. I'd make one choice, take a step in that direction, and then struggle to really see it all the way through. And I'd be second guessing and trying to rework it. And in hindsight, I can look back and see that it started with trying to have the best programs in the entire world, which obviously is a great intention, right? To want your clients to be successful, to want to have incredible programs and courses and coaching programs. Like, that's good. But what I realized is that it triggered my perfectionism. And this didn't just happen, 1 minute, right? This happened very gradually. But my desire to say, hey, I want this to be even better. I want to double the price. I want to increase the support. I want it to look this certain way. I want this. It made me start looking outside of myself. And I started comparing to other people's programs. I started to compare to other people's price points and other people's delivery method. And it suddenly, I can look back and it felt like everything in my program was wrong. Everything in my group programs was like not enough, which obviously is like a shitty feeling. But then you're also like, I know my clients are getting great results. I know my clients are loving it. But it was just this interesting thing. Maybe you've been there before, where suddenly you just get kind of stuck in this loop where I was like, I'm going to change this. I'm not going to change this. Oh, I'm going to do this thing instead. Oh, I'm not going to do this thing instead. And, I think you can see a little bit of it in my last YouTube video where I was talking about all the things I'm doing this year. And it's like, I'm launching and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And it's such a great example of, I was just really, really trying to just like start again, to just get momentum, because I could tell, especially by the time we're, January, February, early March, I could tell what I was doing wasn't working. But what I realized last week was that my issue and my problems and the resistance I was feeling was not actually because of the current state of my business or any of my offers or any of my strategies. It was because of the current state of overthinking. And I basically created in my head all of these problems that didn't really exist. And so to kind of just recap with why I was stuck, I was struggling with perfectionism. I felt like nothing was right. Nothing was good enough. I was overthinking everything. I was feeling like I couldn't take action if I didn't have this thing figured out. And of course, as a human design, I'm a generator. So this lack of momentum was incredibly frustrating and almost became like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So it was just a really tough couple of months, honestly. And what I realized last week was that I had completely gotten disconnected from the actual problem that started all of this. And my dear friend Mariah Cause, I was talking to her and she was like, I'm a little lost in like, what's the problem we're solving? Like, what's our goal? What are the actual like constraints of your life? Like, what are the issues? Like, what's going on here? And I had so much resistance to actually like answering those questions. And I finally did. And I was like, there isn't actually a real problem here. It's completely self-inflicted. And the greatest extent of problem was my mindset and how I was thinking about things and thinking that things needed to be perfect and thinking that they weren't good enough and comparing and trying to follow someone else's model, thinking that someone else's, approach was somehow like better than my own. But then I also realized that I wasn't like, I had lost the plot. But I realized that when it comes to actual problems, it's mainly just in the season of life, I need less stuff on my calendar, right? Need a little bit more flexibility. And so that's where you're like, okay, well, that's a real problem. We can work with that. we can work on solving that problem. But it took months really to kind of come to that place where someone was like, well, what's the actual problem? And it was like, I don't know anymore. Like, I literally don't even know. Don't know why I'm sitting here trying to rework something that's actually not a problem. And so that aha moment really kicked off my ability to get unstuck, because it was this huge realization that I don't even know what the problem is anymore. I created it. Now the problem is all this bullshit in my head. The problem isn't actually anything tangible. And so having that moment of just like, what's the actual problem? What are my actual goals? And in this season of life, what are the actual constraints and parameters that my business needs to work with? And when I finally expressed all of that, it was so clear that so much is fine. And like, there doesn't need to be this huge upheaval. And like the couple of things that do need to be tweaked are like, I already know what I'm doing with that, right? It's not that significant. And so in terms of like getting unstuck, if you're in the same spiral, there's just no resistance and you don't trust yourself and you're really struggling to move forward, or you're just overthinking things endlessly, come back to the idea of what is the actual problem? What are the actual problems you're trying to solve? What are your goals right now? And what are the constraints of the season of life you're in that your business needs to comply with? And things become so crystal clear after that, because after that, suddenly, it wasn't like night and day. Oh, suddenly I'm fixed, but it was the unlocking. It was the moment of like, oh, the problem is my mindset. There's very little other actual problems. The problem was the way I've been thinking about things. And so once that moment happened, I was able to be like, well, what can I actually do right now? Like, what's the actual problems that have to be solved before I can take action, and realizing that basically none of them are actually there. And it was a lot of realizing that I was trying to do things perfectly and be so strategic and and be, leverage my time and all this stuff. And it was like, what's my actual magic? What's my greatest gift? How do I get into flow and allowing that to be enough? Because the reality is that, yeah, it'd be great to batch record YouTube videos. It'd be great to have all of this stuff in place in these funnels and and it'd be great to have the business be less dependent on me showing up. And I enjoy showing up. And I get into flow from taking action. And I had gotten so stuck that I kept thinking the change I was thinking I would need to make would be what got me into momentum. And what I realized is that I need to actually just start doing things. I need to create my own momentum. I need to choose to take action however I can right now and start selling and start showing up and start creating, even if I know things are going to change. Because I will make better, faster, easier decisions once I'm already in momentum versus trying to make the change to create momentum. And for me, whether it makes sense or is the most strategic or not, the fact of the matter is that it's the easiest for me to create podcasts, to create audio content. Like that's just the fastest, easiest thing for me to do. Showing up on Instagram, do I love that platform to death? No, but do I have a community there? Yes. Can I absolutely have great conversations and make sales to the DMs? Absolutely. Do I love YouTube and intend to do that too? Yes. But am I in a season where it has to be all or nothing and it has to look a certain way and it has to be perfect? No, I'm not. I need to just meet myself where I'm at and get into momentum. And right now, easy momentum is Instagram stories, a little bit of Instagram feed, and podcasting and emails. Like that's easy. That's the go. And we just need to get back into this and then figure out the rest. So for me, it's just tapping back into my greatest gift is allowing myself the freedom to just do this, even if it's not like the best visibility strategy in the world right now, right? Just trusting that it's enough, and it's enough to help me get into flow so that if I do want to do YouTube, it's easier. It's easier to create when I'm already creating, if that makes sense. And then also just trusting that like my greatest gift, I don't need to be this business coach with this like 3-step formula that's perfect. My thing is helping you overcome your own perfectionism and your own overthinking, and to get into a state of action and to learn to trust yourself and to create a business that works for you. Because the fact of the matter is all of it works. You can have a low ticket membership. You can have a high ticket mastermind. You can have courses. You can do it all, and it all can work. And all of my clients have kind of different business models. And I love that, because the truth is that if I'm talking to you, I don't think there is one blueprint that everyone has to follow. And pretending that that's the case, I think does a really big disservice. And that's just also not my style. I'm not going to be the coach who's like, here's my secret funnel that's going to solve all of your problems. If you need a funnel and we identify that is what you need, we will map one out. That's amazing. But does that mean everyone needs to be focusing on this certain kind of funnel and this certain funnel works for everyone? No. It's not my style. My style is helping you identify what works for you in this season and aligns with your goals and aligns with your gifts. I have one client who I'm like, yes, let's do webinars. And another client today, I just said, scrap the webinars. Let's do live streams. Let's do other people's podcasts. Let's tap into that, because her gift is speaking on stage and speaking live and being on. And that's being lost in these scenarios where we're like pushing a lot of energy and it's all structured. I have other clients again who are so great in written form or long form podcasting. Like it's just different. And that's how it's meant to be. And I'm meant to facilitate women finding their way of doing it in this season and showing them that it can be that easy and it can be that simple and it doesn't have to look one certain way. And by reconnecting with my own mission there, it has allowed me to come back to that for myself. And that has been so huge. And allowing myself to, if you've ever read the book, Big Magic, it was life-changing for me years ago. But the idea of just following my curiosity and allowing that to be enough. Saying, hey, this is the next step. Even if I don't know if it's the same step I want 10 steps from now, it's the next one. And that's enough. And also no longer trying to control other people's actions. I realized, because I have clients coming up for renewal, that it was making me think about, what do I need to do to this program to have them renew? And it totally flipped on its head from like, what is this program serving and how does it fit into their lives and my lives? And totally flipped it where I'm like trying to structure this to try to control the outcome, which is never going to work. And so just letting that all go and coming back to trusting myself and not trying to control other people has been so, so, so huge. And on like a tactic level, because a lot of what we just said is mindset oriented, from a tactics, tips, actual things, action steps. Now that it's good weather, I've been trying to be outside a lot more. That's been super helpful for me to connect with nature, feel the fresh air, feel the breeze, go on a walk, and ultimately making what Mariah and I call the choice, capital T, capital C, the choice to do the thing you need to do to get grounded, to get centered, to take care of yourself before trying to sit down and cram in work. Because the other day I should have sat down, the logical side of me was like, I need to sit down and get as much done in the next hour as I possibly can. And I was like, I'm going to go on a walk instead. I'm going to make the choice to go on a walk and not try to be productive and just to do what I need to do for me. And I had no expectations of myself getting anything done on that walk except going on a walk. It ended up being the best, like 90-minute, wasn't quite a 90-minute walk, but it was over an hour of just fresh air and just like hearing the outside noises. I ended up doing a lot of, I'm a verbal processor. So I was like sending myself voice memos. I was sending Mariah voice memos. I ended up voice memoing my clients and like having all these really great interactions. I ended up having all these aha moments. And if I hadn't made the choice to go on a walk, I wouldn't have had the breakthroughs I've had in the past couple of days that have allowed me to truly get unstuck. A lot of the breakthroughs I even just mentioned happened on that walk. If I had made the choice to sit here and try to be stressed and get as much done and be productive, it wouldn't have happened. It was because I made the choice to do the thing that seemed illogical, but that I needed for me. And that's the same lesson I've learned over and over again of making the choice to maybe journal or pull tarot cards. Or like today, I went and took a nice long shower during my time where I quote unquote would normally feel this pressure to be productive. I'm allowing myself to take care of me and get grounded as a person and releasing the pressure and expectations of productivity and getting as much done as possible. And it's just reconfirmed just how important that is from a mindset standpoint. But then it allows me to sit down and work and actually do better work, more enjoyably, less stressed, not feel this pressure to get as much done, to have a sense of completion that I've done enough. I didn't like know I would be recording this episode right now. In fact, I literally need to stop so I can go get my kids from school. But because I allowed myself to take time today to shower, to get dressed, to put on some jewelry, to serve my clients, to do some stuff, follow my curiosity, making some choices, playing around with different software, I can then now come here to this call feeling really, this recording and feel really grounded. And I don't have I have a couple bullet points, but a lot of this is mainly just getting the momentum going, starting the process of creating and showing up again, starting the process of trusting myself and putting stuff out, even if it isn't perfect, even if it isn't the most strategic, even if I don't know if anyone will like it or anyone will listen, just no longer trying to control that anymore. Coming back to the more intuitive execution way of serving, where I'm going to have a little bit of structure, but I'm going to allow myself to just show up as well as I can, say what I can say, do what I can do, trust it's enough, move on. And I'm also just reevaluating the support I have. When am I plugging into support and it's not helping me? And maybe I'm plugging into my own mentorship, looking for a stamp of approval, when what I really need to be doing is seeking refinement and accountability and having that there when I need it versus thinking I need someone's hand holding to make choices. Thinking that I need my best friend's approval and someone to be like, yes, that's a great idea. And it's really allowing me to reframe that need and that way of doing it as well. I'm also reworking my schedule because that is one of the actual problems. Hey, where are the actual things that need to be reworked here? And allowing that clarity to make actual decisions that solve the actual problem I have versus all these made up problems. So yeah, I'm adjusting my schedule, still figuring that out, but that's a part of this. And I'm just making sure that if I'm working on something, it's solving an actual problem. Is this a shiny object? Is this something I'm seeing someone else do? Or is this something that actually solves a problem I actually have right now? Not a future problem, not a made up problem, an actual current present day problem. And just overall intuitively executing, trusting myself, taking the one next step, and doing things when they may not be illogical. Originally, I was going to do a free webinar next week. I'm not. It's not going to happen. It's just not the right move right now. And I'm going to allow that to be enough of a reason to make decisions again, to just trust myself that much. So that's how I'm getting unstuck. That's where I've been the past couple of months mentally. That's where I'm coming through this now. I'm coming on the other side and I feel so much more connected to me than I have in quite a while. And that's feeling so good. So good. Just be focused on me and not looking outside of myself anymore. If you are interested in working together, I have my incredible Iconic Mastermind program, which is truly an incredible program. As I've been getting feedback from my current clients, everyone is just telling me that they love it. They love the way it's structured. They love the biweekly support to plug in and get a hot seat, the ability to plug in and get my eyes on their work, to meet them where they're at, to have these calls and conversations that are deeper than just strategy. The strategy's there, but we're having conversations like this: money scarcity, fear of pivoting, fear of changing this. Can I do business in this innovative way? And yes, let's figure out how to do it. If that's something you're interested in, DM me on Instagram. Let's talk about if Iconic is a good fit for you or not. And of course, you can always go to meganminsking.com/iconic to learn more about the program as well. I would love to work with you and help you get unstuck if you're stuck right now. I'd love to help you find the way of doing business that works for you and free you from looking around thinking someone has a magic pill when the magic pill is within you. And you just need the support to unlock it, to work through resistance faster, to get seasoned eyes on your stuff for refinement and mastery, and a community of others doing it all the same way, who have the same goals in mind, who are doing business through the same lens, but who are badass, international, across the world, doing lots of different kinds of businesses. It's a really special place. I would love to work with you there. I hope you enjoyed this little update. If you did, I'd love to hear from you. Shoot me a DM on Instagram or leave a comment if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening on the podcast. Like, just leave a review. I would love, love, love to get any feedback on if this resonated with you, what stood out the most, and hopefully this helped you get unstuck if you're listening to this in a moment of feeling that same kind of stuck resistance feeling I did. I'm always here cheering you on. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.